The next part about polynomials we need to be able to do is a thing called division of polynomials. So what does this mean? It means what if I was to get one particular polynomial expression and divide it by another. The long-term goal of this is being able to factorize large strings of algebraic terms by being able to divide by something that is a factor. So in order to do this, we need to be able to do some long division. Now, it's just a recap before we go on, because I know usually we've forgotten how to do long division. It's something that is a little bit more of a challenge to be able to do. So just as an example, just a sample, let's go with just a reminder of how long division works. So let's go, we want to, let's say, divide 14,436 by 12, let's say. So what we would normally do is we would normally go 12 can't fit into 1. So we would then say 12 can go into 14 once. Now normally we would say, all right, there's 2 remainder, and we'd put the little 2 up here. But we're not going to do that. What we're going to do instead with long division is there's a whole lot of multiplication that's involved. In other words, long division is proving that we actually are absolutely correct and we haven't stuffed up on our division along the way. So what we do is we actually multiply this friend. So this 1, we'll multiply this down by 12. 1 times 12 gets me 12. I'm going to minus this friend. So 14 take away 12 gets me 2. I'm going to move this 4 down. And then what I do is I then going to go and divide this number down here, this 24. And I'll go 24 divided by 2, that goes twice. And just to prove that I haven't stuffed up colossally, I am going to multiply that. 2 times 12 gets me 24. Let's subtract that. And 24 take away 24 is 0. And then we'll bring this one down here, which is a 3. So 12, and so what we'll try to do is we'll try to divide this friend. So 12 can't fit into 3 whatsoever. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a big old 0 up here. 0 times 12 is 0. So 0 times 12 there, just zooming out there, gets me 0. So that's going to subtract that. There's 3, 6. And then what I do is I'll divide 36 divided by 12. Well, that's going to get me 3. So 3 times 12 gets me 36 minus those, and I get 0 remainder. So my answer, let's get my pen working properly, my answer is 1,203. But that's the mechanics of how long division works. It's a means of being able to show your division, to double check that you haven't made any derps on any of your divisors. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the same, but instead of lovely numbers, what we're going to be dealing with instead is with expressions. So the first question I've got up here is I want to divide this particular polynomial here, x cubed minus 4x squared plus 3x minus 4 divided by x plus 2. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go and divide accordingly. So why I would do this is we divide with the x's. So whenever we're doing any divisions, we always divide with the x's in the divisor. So the first one I'm going to deal with is I'm going to divide into x cubed. I found that students in the past like the fact that I put a little circle on here so they remember what they need to divide by. So x cubed divided by x. Now this is always tricky, so I'm trying to remember what x cubed divided by x will be when you minus the powers. Well, of course, that's going to be x squared. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and multiply that by both of these chums down here. X squared times by x is x cubed. x squared times by positive 2 gets me positive 2x squared. Now, if you haven't derped, you should hopefully, that first little digit, that x cubed, the one in green that I've written there, should be identical to the thing that you divided by, because otherwise you've made some colossal stuff up. So x cubed to take away x cubed is going to be 0. Negative 4x squared, go away keyboard, negative 4x squared, take away positive 2x squared, well that's going to be negative 6x squared. And I'm going to bring down my positive 3x. Now I'm going to divide this little friend here. So negative 6x squared divided by x is going to be negative 6x, because negative 6x times by x should be negative 6x squared. So I'm going to go and multiply this friend by these two now. So negative 6x times by x is negative 6x squared. Negative 6x times by positive 2 is negative 12x. And then we're going to do a little subtraction. Now, when you're minusing negatives, I understand this is very tricky, so you need to be absolutely careful as we go. Negative 6x squared minus 6x squared, well, that's going to be 0. Positive 3x minus 12x, so two minuses, remember, make a plus. So that's going to become 15x minus 4. And then we divide this lovely friend. 15x divided by x is going to become plus 15. I'm going to multiply this by these two. And so 15 times by x is 15x. 15 times positive 2 is going to be positive 30. 15x take away 15x is going to be 0. Negative 4 minus 30 is negative 34. And that's where we end. So our answer to x cubed minus 4x squared plus 3x minus 4 is, the answer is our little friend at the top, x squared minus 6x plus 15, remainder, negative 34. Alternatively, you could also go and express this as x squared minus 6x plus 15 minus 34 over x plus 2. But it's not necessary for this particular case. It's another way it can be expressed. The only reason I wanted to include that is I do recall a year 12 paper having it written in this way, and I thought it would be worthwhile for you just knowing that it exists. So just as let's now have another go at doing this. So x cubed plus 4x squared plus 4x plus 9 divided by x plus 2. Put this in here. And again, we're always doing a little x's. So x cubed divided by x is going to be x squared. We'll multiply this down. X squared times by x is going to get us equal to x cubed. X squared times by positive 2 is positive 2x squared. Then we do a subtraction. X cubed take away x cubed is 0. 4x squared take away positive 2x squared. Well, that leaves us with 2x squared. Bring this lovely friend down. Then we'll divide this little monkey. 2x squared divided by x gets me 2x. Then we'll multiply this accordingly. So 2x times by x gets me 2x squared. 2x times by 2 gets me 4x. Minus. And so 2x squared take away 2x squared gets me 0. 4x take away 4x is equal to 0. Oh, now that's interesting. I've got this 0, but what about this 9 at the end? Do I need to divide? Well, no, there's no more x's. So this lovely friend down here, this 0 plus 9, because 0 plus 9 is equal to 9, that's the remainder. So my answer is x squared plus 2x, remainder 9. Or if you want to factorize it, we do like our gold standard answers. Or that would also be fine. Alternatively, you could write that as 9 over plus 9 over x plus 2. Now, hopefully, watching this video, you'll be going, what? No matter how many times I go through it, the only way I found in being able to feel confident with being able to get these polynomial divisions correct is by just doing again and again and again. Now, here's one. We've got x cubed minus 3x squared plus 4. Now, before we begin, when you're doing any sort of polynomial division, you need to make sure that every term is there. And when I say every term, I mean if you're dividing a cubic, there should be an x cubed, an x squared, an x, and a constant. If there is a quartic, it should be x to the power of 4, and an x to the cubed, x squared, and x, and so on. There should be there should be a term representing every version of x on its way down. Here, we've got an example of a polynomial that doesn't have every single x. We've got an x cubed and x squared, but we haven't got x on its own. So when you're doing this question, we need to make sure we put it in. The only reason is it upsets the flow otherwise. So what I'm going to do to be able to put it back in is I'm going to say, well, it's not there. There's absolutely no x's there. So I'm writing 0 x's plus 4. So first thing we're going to do is divide accordingly. So x cubed divided by x is going to make that x squared. Multiply that through x cubed positive x squared, because x squared times 1, positive x squared. X cubed take away x cubed is 0. Negative 3x squared take away an x squared is negative 4x squared plus 0x. Negative 4x squared divided by x is going to make that negative 4x. Negative 4x times by x is negative 4x squared. Negative 4x times by positive 1 is going to make that negative 4x. And then we're going to minus this friend. Negative 4x squared minus negative 4x squared is 0. 0x minus 4x. Two minuses make a plus. So that's going to be 4x. Plus 1. 4x divided by x. Well, that's going to be just a 4. And then we're going to times that through. So 4 times by x gets me 4x. 4 times by 1 gets me 4. Oh, silly me, I dropped that 4 from up there. So when I carried down the 4, I accidentally wrote a 1 instead of a 4. So 4x take away 4x is 0. 4 take away 4 is 0. So hurrah, we finally did a division that has no remainder. So my answer, I've got the coughs today, x squared minus 4x plus 4. Of course, we like to have a gold standard answer. If we can factorize, we will like to. Two numbers that multiply together, that will get 4, but add together to get negative 4. Well, that will be minus 2 and minus 2, which will be equal to x minus 2 squared. This is the precursor for being able to factorize for any sort of graph that you would like. So just so you're aware, this is jumping a bit ahead, but if I asked you now to fully factorize x3 minus 3x squared plus 4, what that means is that you know that x plus 1 divides evenly into it, so that's one of the factors, and then the other factors would be the answer that we got there. If there was a remainder, like we had before, then we can't fully factorize that. No, it won't work. But since there is no remainder, so no remainders. So no remainders means this can be factorized. And we'll talk more about this a little bit later, but no harm in having a little bit of advanced warning.